Hello and welcome to Content is King, but Distribution is Queen. How to change your training delivery for better user experience and higher employee engagement. This session is presented by My Learning Hub, and with us today is Thomas Bellamy. Thomas is head of business development and sales at My Learning Hub, having built his e-learning reputation as the first point of contact for many new clients and a trusted advisor for existing partners. Over the last 4 years of managing the introduction process and client onboarding with companies like Marshall Motor Group, Sherwin-Williams, Yellow Pages, Colite, and Zoner Systems, he thrives at creatively adapting My Learning Hub's suite of tools to the changing learning and development landscape and spotting new opportunities for business growth. So let's please welcome Thomas to the session. Thomas, if you'd like to start sharing your screen, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the webinar today with My Learning Hub. We've got some very exciting stuff to share in regards to how big tech is changing the habits that we are all adopting when using their products. So the key message today from this webinar is how can we use the same habits when forming the same approach to EdTech. So today we have a couple of guest speakers, Paul Warwick, training manager at Zoner Systems, and Alicia Green. We've got a recording from her today. She is the Senior Director of Talent Development at Australia. And then we have our very own in-house Victor Potapov, which is Head of Product Development at My Learning Hub and has led a lot of the innovation in our system that we're going to see today. So we will open the floor for questions later on, and you'll have the opportunity to ask Victor some questions around the growth of the company and some of the products that we have made available over the years. Okay, so the key message here is how do we adopt the best B2C practices in a B2B EdTech world? How do we increase engagement using the same methods as companies like Uber, Netflix, Amazon, Spotify, for example? And why are those platforms so successful? And how do we get the same success in e-learning? So 2 topics today. How has the global user experience market changed? And how has My Learning Hub changed as a result to that? And then we're going to look at Paul and Alicia's examples of how they've used the technology available to them to generate higher engagement in learning. So big tech has changed our user behavior. So let's look at some of the ways that they've done that. And you can see the big logos behind the screen here. So Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Uber, Twitter, Tesla, Spotify. But what is it that makes them so successful? Is it the product themselves, or is it the way that they've made us engage with those products? So Spotify, for example, and Netflix have near unlimited content, both with recommendations. We log into Spotify, we get new playlists presented to us. We go to Netflix, we get new content given to us based on previous films we've watched, based on new things coming available that might be interesting for us. So we're going inside that and we're getting a reward by having a different experience every time. Now we're going to look at how we can create a similar experience within e-learning using some of the tech that we have available. So near here, a former Stanford lecturer has said that companies are learning to master new tactics to stay relevant in users' minds and lives. The economic values lies in the habits that they create. So if we look at Instagram, for example, when we get a notification on our phone, it doesn't tell us what the notification says. It simply states that you have a notification. So we need to click on that and then engage with the app where we can read the notification, but then we're exposed to all of the other available programs and things inside Instagram. Maybe we find an interesting video we like. Maybe our friend has sent us a few videos previously. We start to engage with that app because of the notification. So why don't they show it? It would be simpler to show it on the home screen. But the reason is to increase engagement. So how do we use that approach again when bringing people from the B2C world into the B2B world? And that's done by using a similar framework to what we've got here. So this framework we're going to show throughout the presentation today, and we're going to apply it to different concepts. So this one is the main framework and the kind of introduction to the habit. And then later on, we're going to look at how we can apply this to big brands and how also we've applied it to our tech that we have available in-house, and how our customers have applied the same framework as well to increase their engagement. So we've got trigger, action, variable reward, and investment. Now, admittedly, the first time I saw this framework, it can be a little confusing. So we're going to break it down, take it step by step, and show some examples, and it's slowly going to click as we go through the presentation today. So the trigger is something that gives you the first reason to do something. So like on Instagram, we've got a notification, for example. We then have an action. So we want to view that notification, we just click on it. And then once we're inside that platform, we get a variable reward, something unpredictable. So it could be a new video, a new picture, some new notifications we haven't seen earlier, but the reward changes. So every time we go back into that app, regardless as to the reason why, we're getting different outcomes from it. And then finally, the investment is we can comment, we can give feedback, and we can contribute to the app or the software or product in some way. And then again, trigger, and this loop creates high habits. And this is what we see in Netflix, it's what we see in Spotify, and it's what we see in Instagram on a daily basis. So how do we look at that and apply that to B2B environment? So Amazon, just to flick through this quickly, you need something delivered tomorrow. It's something's broken, you want to indulge, you've got millions of items at your fingertips. When you go into Amazon search place, you can then see different products that would be relevant to what you need. They also recommend products in the future that might be relevant to previous products you purchased recently. But again, you're getting a different experience every time you go inside. You can then give reviews and feedback because the user experience is so good. We then feel more connected to it, the experience improves, and so on. So with Spotify, again, we want to listen to music in the gym. We can search millions of songs. The more we use it, the more we get advertised different types of content. And then eventually it becomes so powerful that we want to upgrade. We want to use premium, we want to remove the adverts because it has such a good variable reward structure and always something new appearing inside of it. So how does that change our user expectations? Everything's on demand. It's easy and convenient. You've got a huge selection of what you might need, and you're able to give feedback. Now, the important thing to remember is that, as Bridget says here very well, the last best experience that anyone has given anywhere, the last best experience that anyone has anywhere becomes the minimum expectation for the experience they want everywhere. So if you stayed in a nice hotel, for example, you would expect the same experience in the next hotel. And in B2B Edtech, we're competing with everyone coming from those B2C environments, expecting the same UX, the same engagement, but they're not met with that same user-friendly, inspiring experience. We've taken some research from PwC's findings, and 90% of C-suite executives has found that, or say that, the companies do pay attention to this when introducing technology, but the staff don't agree. So the technology isn't reflecting the quality that they're seeing in other environments. So the big question today is how can we reduce the gap in EdTech? And we've got a couple of solutions that we're going to show you today as to how that is possible. MS Teams and Slack are a great enabler for this. We've got our learning hubs and LMS internal product, which I'm going to show you how they work and how we can look at this habit forming cycle, but applying instead education tech now. The big question here is also, is the technology not available, or is it that management aren't able to find it? So now I'm just going to introduce the Milo chatbot to you. So my Learning Hub have built this chatbot and it connects My Learning Hub LMS to Slack and Microsoft Teams. So we're going to apply the same framework we saw earlier with Spotify and Amazon, so you can see how these gaps start to be filled. So a quick introduction to that framework here. The user needs training. They need it to be easy to search and they need to access relevant training. They can go, when they search for training, they might be searches based on their role, but they get a different experience each time they're inside. And then finally, the investment. They can provide feedback to the content and they can recommend things to their colleagues. So let's take a quick peek at how that works initially as a trigger. So I'm here to help you find training. It tells you I'm available for searching for content. Action. We need to then search for specific content, or do we want content to be recommended to us, or do we want to find materials based on some genre or category? So by searching in here, we can easily see variants of content that can be made available to us relative to a search or recommended to us. And that's what the variable reward is. So every time we go in here, we can have a slightly different experience and things recommended or reminding us to tell us to take different types of training, or we can search for new training. And the investment, we can provide feedback, we can give ratings, we can track this content on a management level and see what kind of feedback we're getting from these courses. Now, the beauty of this is it connects directly into LinkedIn Learning, into Coursera, the internal library that we have at My Learning Hub, and also your own courses or third-party applications that have content that you want to integrate with My Learning Hub. They can search all of it through Slack or MS Teams now. They can rate all of that content from here. They can be recommended content from here. So much like how we go into Spotify and it recommends different content or different materials that we can watch or listen to, that's exactly what the experiences they're going to be having here now. So we actually conducted some research ourselves back this year in 2022, and it showed that 84% of people in the workplace did use MS Teams or Slack, but only 24% of those integrate with e-learning in any way. So this process that we're looking at, that we're trying to improve in e-learning, is how can we get them more engaged in learning? So on the screen here, we've got that typical process. Step 1 is inevitable. You need the training. Step 2 and 3 are avoidable. So you get told by your manager, hey, we need to do training on customer service. They then go to the LMS, they can search for their training content in the library, they can find the material, and then they can learn. Before they can do that, they have to open the LMS, they need to log in, they need to find the search for the library, and then they can start looking for it. There's lots of chances they're going to drop off on that journey or not start it in the first place. With Milo, we've got rid of those 2 middle steps that could put a barrier to training. So you're in need of training, your HR manager messages you on MS Teams or Slack. You can then search for that material instantly in Milo, click on it, and then using SSO take you straight into that content. So we've got a poll now that will appear on the screen, and it's going to ask some questions about how MiloBot might be relevant to your business or how you might use this. So question 1, how would MiloBot help your business? There's multiple choice, so you can choose more than one answer. The question 2 is, how should MiloBot recommend content to you? This bot is all the intellectual property of My Learning Hub. We are building out artificial intelligence into the platform as we speak. And your feedback here could certainly shape the way that we deliver this. I am open to any individual questions here on this bot if you'd like to ask them now for a minute or so. If not, I will continue. Okay, so if any questions do come up, please put them in and we can answer them at the end. So the results in the poll, they're not surprising. Basically, anything that you would have clicked would have been relevant. But job role certainly is something which is important. We already have this inside our LMS as recommendations. And to encourage self-learning. And this is exactly what we want. We want to encourage our staff to look for training themselves by having that rewarding environment rather than being told to go and learn. So another product we're going to look at now is our learning hubs. And we're going to apply that same framework again that we saw before. So you can also see how this can be applied to increasing engagement and getting people to come in and take this off their own accord. So the learning hubs are a custom learning environment or landing page. And you can personalize these hubs to train clients, partners, create support channels, or for sales enablement. So there is no limit to the amount of hubs that we can create. You can be proactive with these and create them for support reasons, or you can be reactive, as you're going to see later on with one of our guest speakers, Paul, at Zonar, and how he has managed to retain clients and improve the business by being responsive and having support training at a time of need using these hubs. So within 2 minutes, we can build one of these, and this is how. Simply adding a logo, optional e-commerce, a banner with links and information to take you to an external URL, some images, and then you can populate it with your courses. We have a built-in authoring tool. So the accessibility here is you can create content inside the native platform where you're also creating these multiple experiences for your external partners, clients, and resellers. So what it's doing is it's lowering the barrier to creating training, which lowers the barriers for users to access it. The kind of key concept around this is it's 10 times cheaper than any standard LMS, and the power is in your hands. So you have the control to build these yourself. With very little training, you could be doing this within 10 minutes. And scalability wise, if you had clients or partners or people all over the world, you can then scale this and create them for any reason. Now I'm going to hand over to Paul Warwick. He is the training manager at Zonar, and he's going to explain the habit forming framework that we saw earlier and how his company applies that framework to approach problems. I'm also going to ask Paul a couple of questions at the end, just so I can test his knowledge and his application. So thanks for joining us today, Paul, and over to you.
Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate being able to talk at your webinar. I will say that presenting this software, one of the biggest things that Zonar has is its diverse customer base. So Zonar is a fleet management company that tracks assets, which would be vehicles and other larger assets. And it's used by freight, pupil, which would be school buses, transportation buses for public transportation, and then utility vehicles or vocational vehicles in their tracking. And each one of those customers would possibly be using our software differently. So next slide. So the biggest thing here is we do have a wide range of competitors that we go up against for fleet management. And one of the biggest things that we want to do is differentiate ourselves between those customers or between those competitors. And so being able to offer our customers a unique experience and being able to offer them tools that get them up and running with the software that we have is a big ask for us to go through and something that we want to make sure that we get. So that differentiator that we have bringing on My Learning Hub is being able to create customized hubs. Now, with our verticals that we have, which would be freight, pupil, and vocational and utility, each one of those would have their own look and feel. And so we like setting that up. So that would have a nice customized feel, but they also have separate courses. And so we have different things in how that software is being used. The best variable reward is we can make individual hubs for each of our customers and populate it with their information. So it creates a learning experience where their employees can go and it still seems like it's inside their company. And being able to do this has made it so that our software is really meeting the needs of those customers and wanting to build that better relationship with them. And it increases the value of our software versus a competitor software. And that bigger investment that we have made in them will trigger them to stay with us and to also onboard with us versus instead of their displaced customer that they may already have. And so here we have our themes. And so the best thing here is, like, this would be the freight theme. It has a custom background. Our other themes for vocational, pupil, and transit will have different color backgrounds. And the best thing is we can set this up so it allows us to not only create our courses with a look and feel that matches that vertical, but it also allows us to create the courses with that same look and feel. And so each customer coming in really feels that same customization and same personalization that they kind of look for as an added advantage to what they have. Now, that might be great for the company, and buying into the company is great, but one thing is we need to make it usable by the individual user. And so, next slide. Zonar tracks about 300,000 assets. Now, 300,000 assets means that each one of our customers has different needs. And so here you can see individual hubs created for a trucking company, a school district, municipality like Port of Seattle, and then also a utility company. And so having the ability to create those different hubs allows us to be able to track individual usage by their company. It also allows them to have their own custom environment, like the one pictured here, where they can view the available courses that are customized for them, and possible events, and possible when they go in, being able to track their company usage. Next slide. Now, having that 300,000 assets means that there might be 300,000 drivers. We need to meet the needs of those drivers. Now, one of the things that we've seen as we've come out of the time that we've had currently is that people are thirsty for knowledge and want to be able to do this. And one of the things is being able to create in the course builder quick, small, individual courses on tasks. And this allows us to make short little tasks that are like YouTube videos, because people are used to that. And so having that action gives them the variable reward of getting them the information that they need quickly, makes them feel more confident in their job, makes them allow them to do their job in the best time possible, which also then increases the value to them, to the company. And that allows them to not only probably get paid more, but allows them to move up in the company because they've gotten this extra training. It's not one of those things where we have to sit them down and say, here's half an hour of training. These 2 or 3 minute videos on tasks get them on their way doing their work, because taking them out of the field actually takes the company out of getting value of that employee. And so, next slide. So you can see here on, next slide. You can see here each one of these courses, like are doing the roadside view for ELD, having a parent go in, and that's for freight, having a parent go in and learn how to use their mobile phone for My View for tracking their school buses, or a transit having to register for Prevost training on their institute, or even going into our ground traffic control software and being able to evaluate the EBR mobile inspections. And so this allows us to create simple, small, short videos, just like people have been using on YouTube, and allow them to get the information they need and get out of the training. But it also allows them to be able to track what they're learning as well, so they can go back to those things. And so this platform allows us to be able to make a bunch of those trainings easily and quickly. And I think the next one. And so inside the course builder software, it is easy for us to make courses that have everything that a person would need. And it's very simple for us to be able to go and add a new page and add the assets in there and get a short video, get some questions for an assessment for validation of learning, and have them go through it really quickly. And
thanks very much, Paul, for explaining how you've been using the learning hubs over the last year. Couple questions from me. How quick is it to build these hubs?
Well, lately, and so one of the things that we have done is a lot of our sales coming in, so onboarding new employee or onboarding new companies and trying to get them really jazzed about the software and show the learning hub that's available for them is I have been able to make some template hubs that allow me to copy and paste, and I can get a new hub branded for a customer with the training that they need, because I can just select the courses that are right for them for what they're paying for products and services. I can get a new hub up in 15, 20 minutes, and that's with all the training that they need, branded for them and available for them to start using. So it's really great on a sales call, even a last minute one, trying to either onboard a new customer or really looking at retaining a customer that may not be getting what they need out of the software, but it's just because of lack of training. And when they see it, they go, oh, hey, we can get what we need now, and they stay on with us rather than leaving for a competitor.
Okay, brilliant. So quite quick to create them. So the kind of framework here would be that the trigger is the customer has training needs. You can then create a hub. The reward is then the customer can see all the relevant training specific to them at the time of need. And then the investment is that the customer can provide feedback to Zonar. It can improve their experience. And then they're also much more connected to Zonar as a business, as a customer.
Yes, and with that feedback loop of them being able to say, hey, we're looking for this, we can actually create that training very, very quickly and add that to their hub, even customized to them personally, because if there's an engineer or somebody's on there and records a meeting with them on showing them how to do it, it's easy for us just to take that and ramp that back through the course builder and create a custom course just for them and put it in there so that they can access it later.
Absolutely. So the model's applied there. So if we look back at, Spotify, for example, you have a need to listen to music, you can action it, you get a different reward every time you go into that experience, and then you can provide feedback, and it increases that habit forming cycle. So when the customers can see relevant training, you can put new training courses in there that are relevant to them. They get the help that they need. They can also provide feedback. They feel they have that kind of empowerment and that kind of different experience and a variety by you creating a specific hub for them, rather than going to like a set support area online for everyone that's generic. Going somewhere that's specifically for you, that's tailored to you, is going to increase that habit and kind of help keep that customer on. So one last question from me, Paul. How do you gauge the value of this for the business?
Well, really, one of the biggest things is we've been able to reduce churn. And so customers leaving for us, for another competitor, the biggest gain that we have is being able to meet the needs of that customer. As we've been looking at before, we could send out people on-site training, but that costs money. It costs the customer money because they have to bring the drivers out or the dispatchers or administrators out of their job to sit down into the workroom to be able to go through the training. And so this allows us to give them the training that they've been asking for and needing, and provide it in a way that they can take it as they need to and be able to do it. And specifically, like you said with the Spotify example, specifically just on what they have. And so a lot of times when you go in there and you just have, and we do have hundreds of titles, we only include the titles that they are needing for their services that they want. So they don't have to cycle through a bunch of titles to look for what they wanted to look for.
Thanks, Paul. That's fantastic. Thanks for coming on and describing how My Learning Hub's helping you to improve engagement with your customers using that external hubs product. So there's a couple of questions that have come through.
Yeah, that's where I was going. There was a couple questions. If you wanted to take those, do you see them, or I'm happy to read them out?
Yeah, please read them out, and then Victor, our head of product development, will be happy to answer.
Great. So the first one was, does it matter what LMS you use?
Well, that question, I believe, was in regards to MiloBot. So with that case, MiloBot is actually used together with My Learning Hub products because it's all connected to our database and algorithms. So no, it cannot be used with a separate LMS.
Perfect.
Okay. And so can clients use their cell phones to access courses and any embedded video?
Yeah, we've got native apps for both iOS and Android. Everything is completely mobile responsive, so you can use any browser.
Exactly right.
Okay.
So if anything, like any videos need to be played, any hubs, for example, if someone went to your website, clicked on a hub link, the hub landing page we saw earlier resizes automatically. All the content is mobile responsive, so that resizes automatically. So yes, you can access this on a mobile, on an iPad, computer, anything.
And I think there was another question saying, is this a white label experience for clients? So the answer is yes, and you can use it for client and partner training.
Fantastic. So going on to our kind of final part of the presentation today is how to use the LMS internally. And we have here Alicia Green, the Senior Director of Talent Development at Australia out in California. And she's going to talk today about her experience using My Learning Hub internally and how she's managed to improve engagement in her business. Okay, so take it away, Alicia.
Everyone, my name is Alicia Green. I work with Australia. We are located in San Jose, California. My role is Senior Director of Talent Development. I'm very excited to be sharing with you today my work in partnership with My Learning Hub. And my company consists of about 2,200 plus employees dispersed globally. We work with extremely well-known organizations in the search engine and social media platform areas, in IT technology, data analytics, and PMO, as well as several other functions. So I'm here today to talk to you about some really exciting progress that we've had with My Learning Hub and their learning management system. So one of the reasons why I actually needed to have a learning management system was that I was working with a widely known learning management system, which had some poor reporting, inaccuracies, and the inability to do custom learning assignments, as well as promote some of the fantastic programs that my team was working on to motivate and inspire and engage both functionally and behaviorally our employees. And being as widespread as we are, I really needed a program and platform that would work with me in a more customized way. So when we started working together, one of the first things my company needed to do was assign custom compliance and safety learning programs to each and every role. And we have several different functions with our 2,200 plus employee base. Each one of those requires different types of safety, as many different companies do. We're also working with our clients, and those clients have different needs. So there is a distinct complexity there, and utilizing my Learning Hub, we were able to easily take different safety learning programs and assign them to these various roles. The other great benefit was that we could have a reminder for a yearly check-in on these compliance, given the regulatory needs of the business and the fact that our company would be at risk if we didn't have these compliance learnings assigned. So that was really exciting for us because we were moving from a widely known learning management system with a large investment to a very different type of platform. And I found my Learning Hub on LinkedIn, and I discovered them and thought, everyone, my name is Alicia Green. I can easily take different safety learning programs and assign them to these various roles. The other great benefit was that we could have a reminder for a yearly check-in on these compliance, given the regulatory needs of the business and the fact that our company would be at risk if we didn't have these compliance learnings assigned. So that was really exciting for us because we were moving from a widely known learning management system with a large investment to a very different type of platform. And I found my Learning Hub on LinkedIn, and I discovered them and thought, this company is something that I can work with, that I can engage them into some new ideas and opportunities, and almost build something for Australia that was custom, more of a custom solution in the learning management system space. So really exciting. Other opportunities. The other trigger here is that we really needed more engagement in our learning space. We have a wide range of skill. So when we hire employees, they could be brand new to corporate America. They could have been coming off the street working in a store for a couple of months, not a lot of experience on the job, all the way through PhD level, very seasoned employees. So how do you serve those employees with the best learning opportunities? You get an LMS that's custom approach and able to work with my talent development team in defining different learning paths at different skill levels. So we needed to serve those fundamentals, the fundamental learning, advanced and mastery level learning solutions. And by working with my Learning Hub, we were easily able to create defined learning paths that would serve such a diverse group. The other thing is we actually have learning partnerships with LinkedIn Learning and Coursera. And so we asked my Learning Hub if they could organize an integration with us, and we were able to do that, thereby offering even more rich content. And the best part about that is that if we were to do a custom learning path, we would be able to utilize our own custom learning design from Australia, layered with LinkedIn Learning or Coursera, and have it traceable. So that is a really extremely positive benefit because the system speaks not just to us, but our learning partners. So there's a lot of great information there. The other thing is the reporting, right? So a lot of us are asked, could you provide me a report on this, or could you provide me a report on that? And there's only so much an LMS administrator can do. But providing the ownership to the manager, for the managers to be able to extract reporting on their teams is extremely valuable because they take ownership of their learning. So not only are the employees able to utilize my Learning Hub effectively and take ownership of their learning, their managers can also understand what's my employee focusing on, have they met the requirements that we're asking them to do at Estrella? Where are they going and self-serving and looking at different types of learning opportunities, whether it's negotiation or project management? And they can really get to know and bridge that gap between the manager and the employee, which motivates our managers and motivates our employees to keep visiting the learning management system with My Learning Hub. Our employees access My Learning Hub through one login. They see it every day. It's called, as we renamed it, Estrella Learning, but it's the My Learning Hub platform that was able to work with us in customizing that approach. We report quarterly at all hands meetings, and we use the rich data that comes from the learning management system with My Learning Hub to share organizationally who our leaders are at learning. So they offer a leaderboard. So a little bit of light gamification there. That's really extremely valuable when it comes to motivating and engaging and making people feel proud about the work that they're doing. I personally have a great team of designers and developers that have been able to easily upload all different file types that they have designed, SCORM files and more, video vignettes, gamification modules, custom learning done by our company at Estrella right into the My Learning Hub learning management system. Very easy to use, very practical. So for us, the reward is definitely around the learning and the enrichment and the career pathing. Our employees are able to go in and keyword search any word in their search area and find different learning opportunities, whether it's internal to Estrella or through LinkedIn Learning or Coursera or anything else that we've put out there, and quickly be able to take advantage of that learning. And we're also very happy with it because on our team, we have to do, like I said at the very beginning, very custom learning assignments by role. A lot of learning management systems out there don't have that ability easily. It's very difficult or not available at all. This is a huge advantage with My Learning Hub, with the ability for a system to custom approach, and it's not a cumbersome process, but to be able to assign specific learnings to specific roles at all levels, it's incredibly valuable. So the investment here is that we get great feedback from our employees, and we also have a wonderful working relationship with My Learning Hub. They've been extremely quick and reliable whenever we've had challenges on our side or whenever we have lots of ideas, because as My Learning Hub knows, I come up with a lot of different unique programs, so leadership development, functional programs, technical programs, behavioral programs, and I'm always trying to push a little bit more. And in terms of the functionality of the learning management system. And I have to say the most important thing is the ability to work with a learning management system partner. And My Learning Hub does offer that. They offer a truly unique, industry-leading way of partnering with their clients. And then that's very much appreciated. So the investment for Estrella, it's a great ROI. The one thing I wanted to mention also for me is we do have learning analytics. So I have a learning analyst who's brand new, but she was only here 2 weeks and she went right into that system and was able to pull all different types of reporting to do a bit of predictive analytics in the learning space to understand and pulse where is the organization going. Because this is a huge investment. Learning is huge right now for everyone. It's transformational. And so we need a reliable tool and a reliable partner to continuously work with us. And I highly recommend working with My Learning Hub, working with that platform, and discovering what you can do to raise your company to the next bar with futuristic learning.
So thanks, Alicia, for going through all of that information with us today. The next part of what we're going to look at here quickly is just applying that framework again to how they've been using My Learning Hub. So the trigger here is they need some the reliable ability to do training and assign it by role. The action is that those users then need to go and find that training, and their reward is that you've got different integrations with LinkedIn, Coursera, and other searches. And the investment is you can get custom certificates. You can track third-party feedback via My Learning Hub, increasing the quality of content available, meaning that they will go back in and use it going again forward. Okay. So thanks, Alicia. And summary, we've looked at Microsoft Teams and Slack with our chatbot, Milo. We've looked at how to apply the learning hubs externally. And then thanks to Alicia just now, we've looked at how to apply the LMS internally for this as well. So what we're trying to say here is that it's really true how Spotify have captured the market and how we've taken that framework and applied it to our products so that we are recommended content, that we can see different materials when we are engaged in the software, and we want users to keep coming back again and again and again. And this is the key kind of shift here that we're trying to create. Thinking from business to business to thinking from business to consumer. Driven by a manager's requirement to train versus driven by an employee's curiosity to look for content. Compulsory training versus on-demand learning. Software that's hard to access or requires a learning curve to software that is designed intuitively. Our real belief here at My Learning Hub is that education tech should be the simplest of all software to access and navigate. It should be the most intuitive of all products because this is where you come to learn. And that's what we focused our UX development on. So it's clear the B2C market have excelled here. So how can we in EdTech produce the same results? So what's next with My Learning Hub? We know that the future is in content. We know that you need to be able to produce beautiful content so that this engagement cycle continues to work. So that trigger, that response, that variable reward, and that investment keeps increasing. We need to make sure that once they're engaged, once we've got them inside the systems using things like Milo, LinkedIn Learning, or the hubs, that when they arrive into that final product, that the experience is still good. What we've got here is an example of how that looks. So by simply uploading a logo, for example, from your business into the authoring tool, you'll be able to have 10,000 plus moving animations customized to your brand and your experience. So blue, green, yellow, red, purple, here is just some examples. Your logo might be a combination of the 5 or even more colors. But what's important here is that whole library of animation is now applied directly to your logo, meaning when you build content, it's beautiful, it's relevant, it's branded, and anyone in your company has the power to create. So I wanted to thank everyone for listening. Thank you for our guest speakers for joining us today and to share and sharing their experience. And we hope that you've taken something away from this webinar in terms of how to engage your users, maybe how to use your existing products or how you could apply My Learning Hub's products to increase the engagement of your users. If you do have any ideas that you'd like to share with us, or you'd like to take a look at My Learning Hub yourself, you can book a call on our website, or if you take your camera phone and point it at the QR code on the screen, you'll be able to book a call directly with us in our Calendly application. Okay, so we have got a few minutes left before the hour, so any questions now coming through, I can answer. We have a couple minutes. Okay.
If you have any questions, please go ahead and put those in the Q&A for us or in chats. We're monitoring both.
Fantastic. Okay.
I'm not seeing anything coming in.
Okay. So to summarize the kind of presentation in total today, we've looked at the hubs, we've looked at Milo, and we've looked at our internal learning culture. Now, how Spotify, Amazon, and Netflix are applying those engagement models to get people to keep coming back because of those variable rewards, we want our people in learning to be able to do the same thing. So rather than going into an endless catalog of content and trying to search exactly for what you need, you can now get recommendations in Slack. You can then search for content in Microsoft Teams, and it brings you lots of variants in materials that you can then pick from. You can then rate and give feedback on content, which can then be checked by your managers and peers, again, increasing the value of the content inside the system. And finally, with our authoring tool, you're able to build a beautiful library of materials yourself by either editing our existing content library, building your own, or making use of that 10,000 plus animation library and having everything customized to how you might like it to look for your customers, partners, or internal staff. So thanks again, Paul, for joining. Thanks, Alicia, for providing us the video of your experience with My Learning Hub. Thanks, Victor, for joining and asking a few questions. And thanks to our internal colleague, Alina, which has been an important part of putting this process together and this presentation together. So thank you to Alina, and thank you to e-learning industry for allowing us to host this. So thank you for hosting that. We've pretty much finished up today. If there's anything else you'd like to put in Q&A before we finish up, I'll be here for a couple minutes. Otherwise, feel free to drop off. We can send this recording out to anyone that requests it as well, if you'd like to watch it again or share this internally with any of your peers.
Thank you, Thomas.